Alright, welcome back to the pod. A nice little relaxed one. You know how we said like we're going to do loads of big pods? I think we've only done 3 now. It's like relaxed ones like this, mate. Which I'm not complaining about. We're both
This is what people watch for me and you.
Yeah, this is it.
The J and the C.
Two pretty faces.
2.
Fair enough. Bit brutal. We're currently recording this during the international break, and luckily there are loads of things you wanted to talk about because I'm struggling, bro. Ollie, who we had on the podcast, on the last big podcast, I saw he popped up on my TikTok and he was talking about his favourite beer selection in pubs.
What?
You know, like on the taps. Like, you know, you go into a pub and you have different types of beer. He was talking about his local pub in the city of London, and he thinks he's found the best beer tap selection in the whole of London.
Is that what the international Brits come to?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And then I saw the comment, it was like, to be fair, this is cracking international break content. But to be fair, there's been loads of stuff like kind of behind the scenes podcast wise. There's been the whole Gary Neville interrogating Jim Radcliffe.
Did he interrogate him or did he kind of just give him a pass? Because I feel like I didn't watch it all, but I saw clips of it and got bits of it that I read about, but I didn't feel like he really interrogated him. I think he was kind of just like talking.
I don't know, he went pretty hard.
I don't know.
Hearing that, do you know about
I don't think he asked questions which were direct, but I don't think he ever challenged Sir Jim.
He did a bit. He called him out and he said that, like, why you cutting? So essentially, I only really found this out recently, but like a lot of football clubs have old legends that they keep on the payroll as a thank you to the club, and I didn't know they did this. And he's essentially like cut all funding for that. And then Neville was like, why don't you just do like a fundraising dinner? I think it was like 40 grand or something like that. The budget was, maybe more. He was like, why don't you do that? And then Radcliffe was like, well, if someone proposed the idea, I was like, come on, dude. That's so poor. And like cutting canteen lunches is crazy. Do you know what? For the first time in a long time in regards to United, maybe for the first time ever, I was like, I actually do kind of feel a bit bad.
For who?
United fans that have been there from day one.
I don't.
Yeah, but you never want to see a club go under. It's a very historic club. As much as the ground is really depressing, the history behind it, you feel when I went there recently. Like, I was like, whoa.
Go under. I dare ya.
No, but all jokes aside, it is crazy how they're the highest grossing revenue club in the world. I'm not sure if Real Madrid are a bit higher now, but definitely like 10 years ago they were. And the fact that the Glazers have sucked them that dry, pause, is crazy. I just don't understand how that's allowed to happen.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I see it in multiple sorts of ways. You know, you have a lot of owners. Obviously, there's a lot of debt that they're accruing there, and it's not bad from a business point of view, but, you know, they're still splurged here and there. They've still been able to run as a football club. They just haven't really done it as efficiently as you'd want on and off the pitch.
But the reason why they can't do that is because the Glazers are taking money out of the club.
Yeah, but they've still spent a lot. But it's not. I don't think it's been spent in the right things, if that makes sense.
Well, they haven't updated the training ground, and God knows how long we're now.
Yeah, but when you're splurging 90 million on Anthony, like, it's a club decision. The money was there. Like, they spent 90 million on Anthony. They spent 50 million on an aging Casemiro. They spent money getting, you know, Ericsson. Like, do you know what I mean? They're paying wages. Do you know what I mean? Like, these are all decisions that you have to make and put in. And
yeah, which makes the situation even worse, because not only are the Glazers taking out money from the club and basically using it as a way to make money, because it's, again, one of the highest grossing revenue clubs, if not in the world, they're also managing finances when it comes to transfers and stuff terribly. So it's a double whammy. They're taking money out of the club, and then the money they're using very irresponsibly. So it's crazy.
Yeah, well, they hire these people, they hire sporting directors. At the end of the day, when you own something, own a business, then the overall responsibility comes on you. But the people that are hired to do these jobs, Ed Woodward, I don't know what the fuck he was doing for time. I'm sure even look at Sir Jim, he's coming in, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. So it's like, it's tough. You can look at people like Daniel Levy, runs Tottenham pretty fucking well as a business, like probably one of the best.
Yeah, he does.
In terms of business, but obviously on the pitch and all footballing matters, they haven't really quite got it right. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's a funny place, a funny team, man.
Well, it just shows that they're papering over the cracks for so long with Fergie.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's definitely the Prem GOAT.
So what do you think of this new stadium? Because I think it's brilliant for the city of Manchester in regards to jobs, and secondly, I know loads of people hating on the fact that it looks like a weird Glastonbury tent, but I think it's great. I think it's brilliant. When I went there recently, I was quite shocked at how run down it was. Last time I'd seen a stadium that run down was when I went to White Hart Lane when I was younger, and that literally looked like a rat's nest.
White Hart Lane was terrible.
It was awful. I remember walking down there. It was bad. And Man United felt like that. It felt stuck in the past when I went there. And again, people might disagree with that, but that was my opinion from seeing it for the first time compared to a lot of the modern stadiums I've seen, even stadiums in Europe. Like, like even the San Siro felt less dated than Old Trafford, but I'm not sure what was built before. But even the San Siro looking to renovate. So, what do you think about these plans? And it would be great for the city, great for the area. Maybe people disagree with that. I don't know.
No, 100%. Like,
but that is a exciting project.
Yeah, United has always been like probably the biggest institution in Manchester and brought so much to the city. So like putting a state of the art footballing community and building like a more modern thing there is actually going to benefit them. You can debate about like you can joke about the stadium, but people joke about the Tottenham Stadium. It looks like a toilet bowl. But let's be honest, it's probably the best stadium in the UK right now.
I'd argue in Europe.
Yeah, probably.
No, I'd argue in Europe. It's that good.
Well, the Bernabeu, they underwent some crazy.
I've heard a lot of people don't like it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, I don't know too much about the architecture behind it. I'd have to ask my old man. But yeah, it's. I think it's a positive thing for one with United. For the first time, it feels like they're building for the future and not being stuck in the past and not trying to spend £90 million on Anthony to fix a problem.
100%. Like, I think United have got a lot of things to do to get to where they want to be and to get to the level that I'm sure they view themselves amongst others in world football. But, I don't know. I think it could go one or two ways. They can build this whole thing and the footballing still kind of lags behind. But let's see how they'll do in funding. Because building a stadium and then all the problems they have financially but in the background, building a stadium that's going to be as big and as grand as they want it to be, that comes with its problems financially in terms of building a squad out.
Yeah. But I think they're, as much as we joked about relegation, I think they're in a good enough position to ride that out.
I don't know. I don't think they are. They're in the limbo now. Like, they're gonna have a massive clear out.
Who they got to clear out?
Well, they're gonna get a lot of pure profit from like. I think right now, you got to sell Garnacho. He doesn't suit the system. He's not playing that well. He scored his first goal in like 10 months the other day in the Premier League. sell him. You're going to get good money for him. He's 19, 20.
I still think he's a brilliant player, though.
You think he's brilliant?
I think Garnacho is very, 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 very good.
Really?
Yeah, he's 19, 20, as you say. He's just unsettled at a very dysfunctional club right now, going through a very big change. And I think, regardless of him not performing in the last 10 months, there's been a lot of times before that under Ten Hag where he's actually bailed them out. And on top of that, being one of the few players, along with, I'd say Diallo, but I think under Ten Hag he wasn't really getting on. I think a lot of times Garnacho bailed United out, and I almost think he's been overplayed a lot. Like, do you remember when Foden was slowly kind of brought into a squad? Don't get me wrong, Foden's kind of fell off now. But I think Garnacho's kind of been overplayed a lot. And I think during the times in which he's been overplayed, I think he's shown signs of talent that is still there. I just think genuinely Garnacho is a bit burnt out at a very dysfunctional club. He doesn't know what his role is. Nothing solid. You need a solid foundation to come into as a player. I'm sure that's why Miles Lewis-Skelly and Nwaneri have done as well as they have. Don't get me wrong. They're full of talent and would come good anyway. But they're in a settled environment. Garnacho's at a very tumultuous club. Like, we're talking about canteen ladies and Jim Radcliffe's on Sky Sports. The owners are selling. The Glazers are taking money out. Ten Hag's just got sacked. He's now got to play in a new system. Under Amorim, who's a very stubborn manager, he's got to learn this all. And he's been all through this before by the age of 20. That's a lot. And I think there's been enough talent there to show that he can come back from this. I do think they'll get a lot of money for Garnacho, which would be brilliant, and it'd be a good time to rebuild. But I think he needs to leave and end up somewhere settled.
100%. But I do think it's best for both parties right now. If he's not, I just don't see him having the career that he probably dreamed of having at United. I think he's better off going to an environment and showcasing what he's got. I don't know if he'll be a world-class player. I don't think he's a very, 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 very good player or a great player, like you were saying, whatever you're saying. But he definitely has a lot in his locker to become a good player. But I just feel like if he doesn't suit the system, the style of play that the manager wants to play as well, then you really got to just cash in. Like there's a few teams out there that are willing to take that bet on him. Chelsea, Italian clubs as well.
I think he'd do better abroad.
100%.
I think he'd do better abroad. Like in La Liga, I could see him doing very well. Can't really see him do too well in Serie A.
I do. I think he can do well. Pulisic has done really well there.
Is he that much of a systematic player though? Garnacho's kind of got that Martinelli about him, where he's quite raw, and Italian football's very tactical. It's very.
He can go and learn. I think
particular.
If he goes, I think it was Conte that wanted him. I think if he goes there, I think Conte will make him into a dog. You know, Conte knows how to get the best out of some players. So you need to be put in that environment to develop as a player anyway. So if a league is too tactical for you, then what are you doing in football?
Yeah, fair enough.
So
fair enough. Point being though, will his like that rawness go? Like the rawness that he's
it has to at some point. Otherwise, he's just going to stay at this level for his whole career.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I think the exciting thing.
Would you have Garnacho at Arsenal?
Not right now.
When? If not right now.
I think he needs some. Again, he hasn't been in a very calm environment where foundations are set. I'm sure that's why a lot of Brighton players do well, because they know what their expectation is. The foundations of the club is clear. They're very, as much as I think they've had the highest net spend actually this season, Brighton, but for the most part, it's a very stable club. You've got a brilliant owner, and I think it's Tony Bloom, who's a local of the area, and the foundation of the club is very secure, especially when Brighton had been through all the struggles that they have, like playing on a bloody athletics track. They're very much conscious of keeping the club alive and keeping the club in a healthy, stable position, is essentially what I'm trying to say. And I don't think United's there. I think it's an understatement to say it hasn't been. As Radcliffe said, it could have gone out of business. I think it's very underlooked how important that is in the player's development. So I still think Garnacho's shown enough to be very, very, very good, but I just don't think he's had the foundations to build confidence, adapt, learn more about his game. He's kind of had to come in and be brilliant because everything's all over the place. So I don't know. Maybe the exciting thing about Garnacho is you don't know. He could be a C+ or he could be an A star. I don't know. I think he could become very good. I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying the exciting thing and the interesting thing about him is you don't know.
He's not going to be an A star. We can leave that at that.
Okay, maybe an A or a B+.
Yeah, it could be a B+.
Yeah.
Be B+, A-.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hear that. But if I'm United, cash in, academy product, pure profit, wages off, boom, rebuild. Mainoo, again, really good player, doesn't suit the system. Manager doesn't want him. If you're going to invest in a manager, you've got to take Mainoo out and sell him. And he's also asking for wages that aren't really suiting.
How much he's done?
I think it suits how much he's done and how they've progressed their wages in the past. But really and truly, if they really want to invest in a new structure and a new cohesion at the club, they've got to start trimming their wages.
Can we get the wages up? You're saying Kobe Mainoo is wanting 180 grand? I thought he's brilliant in his breakout season. I still think he's got a bright future. But again, Mainoo, if Mainoo is at Arsenal and he breaks through like this at Arsenal, he would maintain this standard, I think. The only thing you've got to worry about Arsenal is we've probably got a small squad, so he'd probably be overplayed. But he's in a calm, controlled environment, in a calm, controlled foundation.
I hear what you're saying about this thingy, but like, not every football club's gonna have this calm thing. Like, Bruno does well individually and like.
No, I'm saying young players.
Yeah, but I feel like if you've got quality, you'll show it. You know, you might have tough periods and like you play that position and stuff like that. But really and truly, like, Diallo's a young player. He's gone on loan. He's had a tricky career, and he came in straight away into the team. He did well. It's a tough environment, but ball is ball.
No, but like Mainoo showed he did well. He showed his class. Garnacho showed his class. Did well. Diallo still is showing his class. But I'm saying these players, if they're gonna thrive, they need to be in a calm environment where
I disagree.
Where there's not too much pressure thrown on them.
I think if you get opportunities, then you thrive. You know, obviously you need a...
Yeah, but there's sorry to interrupt. There's two different types of opportunities. Nwaneri and Miles Lewis Skelly, got to stick on that, came in at a time where they could take that opportunity. Arsenal had more than enough left backs. Miles Lewis Skelly came in. Nwaneri, yes, we have relied on him a lot recently, especially with injuries, but there was a plan behind it. It's why Smith Rowe and Nelson left this summer, because we knew Nwaneri was going to come in and take that place. So that opportunity is a calculated opportunity. That is one that's been created even with options in the side. Whereas with Mainoo, Garnacho, with Diallo, it stinks of, oh wow, you're a really, 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 really good young player. We really need you to do well because we need some sign of positivity.
I don't know.
And you can't keep that up all the time as a young player.
I disagree slightly because I do feel like, yes, Nwaneri and Miles Skelly, they were promoted to the team this year, but really and truly, until we had the injury problems, they were just getting League Cup minutes. They weren't starting. They weren't really even coming on in the Premier League. Like when we had Martinelli, Saka, Havertz, Jesus, they won't get any minutes, bro. Like Calafiori was injured, Tomiyasu was injured, Tierney was injured for half the season.
Yeah, but
like
point being is before the season started, there was a plan to put them in the team.
Yeah, but there wasn't a plan to start them or have them having the minutes they have had this season, in my opinion.
Yeah, but they're still part of the first team squad. I mean, you could argue that for Diallo, Mainoo and Garnacho, but I think the main point I'm trying to make is it's almost desperation. It's like we really need these young players to do well. Whereas if Nwaneri and Miles Lewis Skelly don't do well, it's like, oh, we've got an injury crisis, but they did their best.
But it's always going to be like that as a young player. You're playing for one of the biggest clubs ever. No matter what club you're at, you need to do well. No matter how old you are, you need to show you the best version of yourself. Look at Tyler Dibbling, quality player, 18, and like he's basically the best player at Southampton. Like they need him to do well, not just for himself, but for the club and help them stay up. But really and truly,
I don't know. I don't feel like there's any pressure on Tyler Dibbling.
I think
Southampton people knew Southampton were going down before the season.
100% people knew they were going down, but he's been seen as like the shining light there, and they're probably hoping for him to like save them. Obviously, they realize very quickly that they need more. His numbers aren't even that great anyway, but his performances are pretty good. I think that's a tough environment. Your relegation, you're losing every week. You're not getting much of the ball. Like you're constantly sitting back. It's a tough environment, but he's playing well. Yeah. Like I feel like when Mainoo stepped in, quality shows. Like he dragged them out of it last season.
100%. I'm agreeing with you in that sense. I'm not saying that they can't show their quality, but to keep that up for as long as like I don't know, Asaka did when he came into the team. As long as a Dibbling will, I think if they go down to the Championship and Dibbling stays there, I think he still continues to show that quality. But at a young age, it's really hard to maintain that form. Even Foden, when he came into the City team, as much as he's absolutely dropped off the rails, or dropped off the face of the earth, pretty much, he was still kind of getting minutes here and there. When he was in the team, it wasn't a necessity 24/7 for him to perform. There were still players around him. It just stinks of desperation around Man United. And I'm not saying that they haven't come in and done well. Of course they have. Garnacho's done well. Mainoo's done well. Diallo was really good when I saw him live. And I was actually quite taken aback. And I still think Diallo's performed to a high standard, which is an even higher, even more credit to him. I just think when you're in a toxic environment and you're young, it's harder to keep showing the quality because you're not used to being in that environment. There's a lot more pressure. As much as youngsters can be seen as fearless, I think when you're given that much responsibility in a toxic environment, it can weigh on you. Full stop.
Yeah, but I think that just 100% it can weigh on you. But I think it's what separates greatness from mediocrity or decent players. Like, look at Archie Gray played really well in a very difficult situation.
I still feel bad for him.
Yeah, you felt bad for him, but I don't really feel bad for him at all because it's like everyone, when you talk to Tottenham fans, they love him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like no one's ever going to blame him for even making a couple mistakes. People protect him. They realise that this guy's young. They've given him the patience, the opportunity, and he's played well.
But what's the difference between Man United and Tottenham, if we're being honest?
Man United's a bigger club.
Yeah. And they expect success straight away. And that's harder for Mainoo. That's harder for Garnacho. Archie Gray has no pressure on his shoulders. As much as I still feel terrible and I still think it could kill his confidence as a centre-half, there's still that element of slightly less pressure.
Yeah, slightly less pressure. But look at Heaven. Heaven couldn't get a kick at Arsenal. He's come there. They're giving him the patience. He's worked hard. He's doing well.
And again, he showed his quality at first. I'm just saying over a long duration of time. Of course. It's hard as a youngster.
Of course. It is. I'm not saying it's not. But I'm saying at the end of the day, like, football's football. It's a very unforgiving game. You got to go and get it.
Yeah.
And if you're out of form, you can't pick up that form within 2 years, then a lot of questions got to ask. And if you don't suit the manager or suit the style of play, the smartest thing is to move on, which I think some of those players should do for the better of themselves.
100%. I think the point I'm trying to make is Mainoo, Garnacho, and I just think it's incredible how well Diallo's still doing. But I think Mainoo and Garnacho can still become very, very good players, and I feel bad for the criticism that they're getting because as youngsters, you can't continue. You can't have an A-star season every year. I mean, even De Bruyne when he went to Chelsea, Salah when he went to Chelsea, they had a bad season or two. It's like Mainoo and Garnacho can't have a bad season. You know?
They can. But it's what you're doing in that season. I just don't think Mainoo can play in a midfield too. He's definitely been overplayed. He looks tired. He's getting injured now. Garnacho, yes, his confidence has gone down. he's making a lot of mistakes. All of this, both of them can be very good players, and probably will end up being good players. You know, you don't play at this age for at this level for
no reason.
For no reason. So, yeah, I don't know. I still feel at this moment in time, like for the betterment of their careers, they've got to move on. And I think the reason why you're hearing murmurs of United be willing to sell each of them is crazy, but really and truly, they can probably invest, if they want to invest in that manager.
Yeah.
Get them the players that they want. They might regret it in the future, but
yeah, I agree. I think it suits all parties. Should we go through the wage list then? Finally, who's on the highest wages at United? If you're doing a rebuild now with Amarin, Maguire's definitely up there. Who's number one? Who's the highest earner?
Casemiro, 350.
All right, that's definitely got to change.
But I just don't think
that's like more than 100 grand more than Arsenal's highest earning player.
Yeah, they're gonna have to pay him to leave.
Yeah, wages like that are crazy. You should never ever be paying over 300 grand per week on wages for an aging player.
But do Liverpool sign Salah?
But he's proving it. They bought Casemiro from Real. Was it from Real Madrid?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was aging. He was on the way out.
Yeah, but they probably thought like.
But he's never played in the Premier League or anything.
Yeah, they shouldn't have.
Yeah. It's
they
like
definitely shouldn't have.
Salah's proven in the Prem. Like, I understand that, and Salah's just a bit of a genetic freak.
Yeah, he's absolutely freak.
Yeah, so I think that's a whole different situation.
Yeah, Casemiro.
Who's second?
Bruno, 300k. I think
he's got to keep him.
He got his new deal. Mason Mount, 250.
I think that's got to go down as one of the worst signings of all time.
Yeah, but the manager does like him, and he suits the system. He just needs to keep fit and actually get on at games.
But how long till you cash out with Mason
one more
Mount?
season?
I think one more season and he's done. He'll be in the MLS or something as like Cincinnati FC or something next year. The Bruno thing, just touching on Bruno, I've given Bruno a lot of shit and I'm not his biggest supporter. The way he handled that whole Roy Keane criticism, I thought was top. I thought was top. I haven't seen a player do that in ages. Like Maddest trying to get back at Roy Keane because he scored a tap-in the Europa League. Maddison's as my dad says, Maddison's a very smart guy. He's very smart at what he does. He gave Saka crap when he scored against him in the North London derby after Saka did the dart celebration and stuff like that. He knows how to get his own back, but to bite to Roy Keane, come on. That's like Pogba biting for Souness when he was going at him every time. Just ignore the old man. Just ignore him. His time's gone. Enjoy yourself. Bruno, I say that the old man, Roy Keane, really does know what he's talking about. But point being, you're playing, ignore everything. Roy Keane would ignore you. If Roy Keane was listening to Roy Keane wouldn't care what Roy Keane was saying. Point being. And yes, Roy Keane may be right, but you can't focus on that and get rattled by that. It's making things about you when you should be focusing on making the team better, and it shows that little things are affecting you. I don't know. I think that translates through the squad. Point being, Bruno, you spoke very elegantly when Roy Keane called you out, handled it like a pro, and I'm sure Roy Keane's got a lot more respect for you as a United legend, as the United legend Roy Keane is, and it gave me a lot more respect for Bruno because it completely contradicts on how he acts on the pitch sometimes. But seeing that, I was like, okay, yeah, he's a captain. He's dug them out so many times, that free kick against Arsenal. God knows how many other times. He's very direct. I don't think he's as brilliant as some people make out, but he's definitely, without him in the team, United would be in an even worse position. And to talk the way he did and take on the criticism, I think is one shining light at a very dark time for United.
No, 100%.
Anyway, sorry. Mason Mount got to go.
You're welcome. Straight.
Yeah, he got to go. I think he's plagued by injuries for the rest of his career. You can see it. You can see it. He's lost that.
I don't know.
But on that money, Cheeks.
Well, that money is crazy, but when you buy someone from a rival, I don't know what he was on at Chelsea. You can't drop the wage.
Mm.
I don't know. It's a lot of money, too much money.
Yeah.
No one can argue that. But I think we'll give him 1 more year.
Yeah.
Give him one more year. The manager backs him.
Yeah.
Delict 195.
Okay,
Respectable.
I don't know why. Yeah, that's all right.
Maguire 190.
Got to get rid of Maguire.
Yeah. I do think you might need that experienced head, because if you're probably going to get rid of Lindelof as well, who is similar age.
Yeah, I think Maguire's better in the changing room.
Yeah, exactly. Eriksen 150, he's gone.
He's got to go, yeah.
Sancho's still there. Apparently he's on 150 as well.
We're going to touch on that.
Luke Shaw 150.
He's got to go too, injured. But he's also good in the changing room, so I don't know.
Well, he's probably not in the changing room anymore these days.
Probably.
Yeah. Mazraoui 135.
He's been alright. I'm still not as sold as people are on him.
He's solid, man. He's flexible. He can play in numerous positions.
He's not awful. He's far from awful.
Onana 120.
I think you've got to put your faith in Onana. I don't think it's as bad as people make out.
Yeah, so Onana, Martinez, Ugarte, Lindelof, Diallo are all on 120.
That's alright. Okay, this isn't as bad as I thought.
It's not, I think.
But you've got to get rid of Mason Mount, Casemiro.
Oh, I see what. So Sancho is probably on a bigger wage. But because Chelsea are they're paying Sancho 150k right now while he's at Chelsea.
So Sancho's on 300k at United.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because Rashford's down here below at 75k and he's on like crazy amount.
Yeah.
So like,
I think you've got to get rid of Rashford, you've got to get rid of Sancho, you've got to get rid of Casemiro, you've got to get rid of Mason Mount, you've got to get rid of one of the centre halves, Lindelof, you've got to get rid of Mainoo, and you've got to get rid of Garnacho.
You have to do it very carefully because that turnover is absolutely insane. Like, you're gutting the squad and now you have to expect that transfer window has to be pinpoint perfect in terms of replacements, and it's not going to be that easy.
Yeah.
To get the players that you want. So you got to be careful with the rebuild like this. You really got to be patient because the results might not come as soon as you want them to.
If they can you see them this summer going for a big rebuild like we think they should?
I think so. I think so many of their players are gone. So many of their players are gone. They should be getting 200 million in sales minimum. And a lot off their wage bill.
Also, I think what that does when you do gut a squad like that as well is create less pressure, even though it's Man United. Like, I think if fans know that you're gutting the squad and you're going through a whole new rebuild, kind of similar to like when Arteta got rid of Aubameyang, I think that does take the pressure off a bit because fans understand that they can see a vision. They have faith that something's being put to works. I think fans get very frustrated with papering over the cracks 24/7. Let's sign this. Oh, this hasn't worked. Oh, this is crap. Blah, 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 blah. I think if you show your gutting, take the pressure off, show that you've got a plan in place. Bless myself. Show you've got a plan in place, then that takes the pressure off. You've got this new stadium. That's promising. That would get me as excited as a fan. But you've got to, as you say, you've got to be careful with it. But I think if you can show an intention to sell this summer, I think that would ease Man United fans, in my opinion. Anyway, should we talk about the Sancho situation?
Yeah, can do. But yeah, in that, all of that, Mainoo's on 20k right now.
Wait, sorry. Mainoo's on 20k?
You got to think about it. He came into the squad, got instant deal whilst he was playing well, like after like 10, 20 games. So then he was on like you have your first contract, then you have your second professional contract to keep you there. So he's on like 20k.
Would you wait for Mainoo to hit form before you sold him? Or because the longer you keep him and you keep him playing and he's not performing, the less money you get.
Yeah, 100% no.
Or would you
say everyone knows that Mainoo's a good player. He's young. But they've seen what he can do. I think they realise he's just probably burnt out a little bit and he's been played in a position where he's not really that comfortable.
How much do you reckon he'd go for? I reckon around 40 mil.
Yeah, I reckon 50.
But I reckon if he hits form, you could sell him for 60.
I think in the Premier he's going about 50 plus.
Even now?
If you go into a Premier League rival, yeah, I think you're going 50 plus. If you're going abroad, I think 40 something.
I reckon 30.
Really?
Yeah, because like Italian clubs can't pay that much.
How much they get Scott for?
Who?
McTominay. 27-year-old Scott McTominay. And like Liam and Gallagher, like how much are these guys going for? Because obviously these teams.
McTominay went for 20 odd.
Gallagher went for 40 million euros. So what's that? 35 million pounds.
Yeah, I reckon 30 mils for Mainoo right now. I'd cash in on that.
I think you got to give him. I think 40 plus.
I'd cash in on Mainoo now. 30 mil sell on clause.
I think
Or a buyback clause.
30 million. Fucking Iwobi went for 30 million the other, like.
I know. I don't know how Iwobi's brilliant, by the way. I think I love seeing him do well at Fulham. But the way that man has attracted these transfer fees, I don't know. I think Arsenal were terrible at business for ages, but 35 mil to Everton. Honestly, Everton, Jesus Christ. But
I think if United sell for 30s, then they're just as stupid.
But I think if you continue to play him, he goes for less. If he
He's injured right now, so he can't. I don't think he'll be back for the end of the season. I think people know what he can do. He's freaking 20 years old. Took the year by storm last year.
So would you cash in your chips now?
Yeah, 50 plus. That's what I'll be hoping for. You know, he's a good player.
So the Chelsea Sancho situation. This is crazy. I've never seen a situation where a club's had to pay £5 million to take back a player.
No, but it's normal, but it's not. It's an obligation to buy it. So they're breaking the obligation. So they have to pay a penalty fee, which is kind of like fucked. Because that's how bad the transfer's gone. Or the loan deal has gone.
But everyone was saying how well he's doing. He scored that banger against Tottenham and people saying, oh, Sancho's sick and like he's back. What's happened? It kind of just petered out.
Yeah, exactly that, bro.
And that happens everywhere with Sancho, it seems. Like, even at United, he had that, like, little purple patch, and then it just went, oh. Why does this keep on happening?
I think psychologically, he's just not at it. I think he's one of those ballers that great ability, but he just doesn't have that hunger. I don't know if it was... It's just a mentality thing. You can see it, like... He's coasting in every game. Like, I think he's one of those players I don't understand. Like, is he a confidence player? Does he need to be a suitable environment? Like, he's played in every environment there's been. Don't know. Maybe at Dortmund he just felt the level of competition was a bit easier, so it was easier for him to glide and do his thing. Premier League's just a bit more intense. It's a bit more a lot more scrutiny, and a lot more pressure, and a lot more. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to think of excuses for him, but at the end of the day, it's not good enough.
It's not.
Chelsea should pay that $5 million.
Yeah, but then what happens with him? Because how do United get rid of him? I think what will happen is he'll end up going back to United and they'll sell him for a cheap fee to Dortmund again. I reckon he'll go back to Dortmund again. I can see it.
He should, man.
And it's weird because people were raving about him, like how he was going to be like one of England's best ever players and
he should have been.
And that.
He's good enough to be.
Where's it gone wrong?
I think mentality. Yeah, I don't know. It could be personal issues. Could just be not got that hunger. But to be honest, like the guy's made it. Guy's earning 300k a week minimum, whatever it is, just chilling.
Yeah, but he's not going to make it for long. His wage is the transfer fee's going to go down. Then the wage is going to go down. Maybe he needs that hunger wise. Do you think that's a bit of it? Maybe when he was coming through at Dortmund, he was a lot more hungry. He was on less wages. There was less pressure. He had to prove himself. And then when he made that big money move, he's playing with Ronaldo every week. He's earning loads of money. And then that happens. And then maybe the purple patch at Chelsea when he first joined was, oh, everyone's calling me crap. All right, I played a few good games. And now he's just slowly gone down. Is it just a thing where you have to get him fired up? There has to be something for him to... He can't motivate himself. Because that's what it seems like.
I think... I don't know, like... You can't really pinpoint it. Not in the Sancho? Sancho.
I
was thinking about Saka. I don't know. I feel like he's got stuff going on in the background that he's not been able to really change since he's been in the UK. So I don't know, but he's a player that I wouldn't want at my club.
Yeah, so we won. Then it looks like Chelsea are gonna get rid.
I think they should. Like, they already signed these young wingers.
Yeah.
So from Sporting, and they look like good talents. But it's like, I saw something just now. Like, on their books, they're gonna have 89 players.
89.
89 players. That includes development, like reserves, but they're all on professional contracts.
They've got 89 players on professional contracts. So how many teams could you get out of 11? 89?
Yeah.
So you could get 8 11-a-side teams out of Chelsea squad. So Chelsea have 8 teams of players. That is crazy. They could literally start at quarterfinals at Cobham. What is going on?
That's what they should do. Like, have a trial and like.
Yeah. We just unlocked it. They should do trials within the squad, and if you can't make it past the quarters, you lose your contract.
Bro, let me even find that thing again.
I imagine they put all. But how do you do that?
It's crazy, bro. They got
Or like whoever doesn't make it past the semis. I don't know.
it's all mid.
Because then some reserves. Is Brozier still there?
He's on loan.
Where did he go?
Everton.
What? I didn't even know he was there.
Yeah, he got injured. Like straight away.
Yeah. This guy's not gonna.
Bro, yeah. Oh, is that Fulham?
No, he went. I don't know. I don't know
I
where.
think he's at Fulham. Is that Fulham or Everton?
I don't know. He went somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Chelsea should do a quarterfinals kind of round robin tournament at Cobham. I reckon that'd be the best way. And then, like, if you make it past the quarters, you keep your contract. Because what's that? 44 players. You'd literally half the squad that way.
It's crazy. They've got 22 players out on loan right now.
Yeah, and then with it, you have to sign like a NDA before the quarterfinals, and you have to say, I won't receive a payout if I can't make it past these quarterfinals. Chelsea shouldn't have like 3 kits; they should have 8. Nike should be producing 8 separate kits for them. I don't know what's going. 89. There should be some rule that they've broken for that. Surely. Here's the real question: will they hit triple digits?
The whole point of this rule, the rule that they're breaking is fucking, what's it called? FFP.
Yeah. I know they've grown as a club for over the last 20 years or so, but there's no way they're bringing in as much income as a Man United or an Arsenal or
They don't even have a shirt sponsor.
Yeah. Stinks a bit, doesn't it?
Well, apparently, like, the reason behind it was they wanted to wait to see if they qualify for Champions League to get a bigger shirt sponsor that would satisfy them for a longer period of time. They've always had for the past 5 years, they've had the worst. They had the
3.
tyres one.
3.
They had some terrible sponsors.
It's weird. It's a really weird. I don't know how they haven't been done. We're talking about Man City getting done, but Jesus Christ, I don't know how they're not being done. But yeah, I would want to go through the whole squad and see who we get rid. But we would be here for 3 hours.
Yeah, no.
It's ridiculous. God, this has been a very Man United Chelsea podcast. I don't like it. Moving on.
Some people are calling us Arsenal pods.
Yeah, exactly. We're cultured.
Best. Yeah,
we're cultured.
We get about, man. Jackie boy.
Yeah.
We're going to be trying something new.
Okay.
All right.
I like something new.
So here we're going to be blind ranking Premier League strikers. So I'm going to give you 10.
Yeah.
You can do all the little edits. You have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Be a pain in the arse, that edit.
Blah blah. So I'm trying to think about what order I can do this in, but we could just go off the rip. All right. So let me just check. I've got 10 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cool.
All right.
I'm
ready.
We'll start off with a bang.
Okay.
These are going to be Premier League strikers.
Okay.
Ibrahimovic.
As a Premier League striker? No, but are we talking about how they performed in the Premier League? Or them in general?
Just rank them, bro. Rank them.
No. I need to know that because...
He scored, 18 goals, 20 goals in the league?
Okay, we're talking about them in the Premier League then, just to clarify. Talking about them as... Because if we're doing Premier League strikers, then it has to be about their form in the Premier League.
Okay, rank these guys in terms of ability.
Just full stop. Ability.
Yeah, ability, full stop.
Okay.
This guy, man. Fucking only child, right? All right. Ibrahimovic.
That's such a rough start. 4.
4. Okay. Crouch.
9.
Jesus. Robbie Fowler.
10.
Fucking hell. Suarez.
2.
Cavani.
8.
Aguero.
3.
Sturridge.
7.
Giroud.
6. I messed up there.
Diego Costa.
5. Please say you've got him in there. Who am I putting as number 1, Jukes?
Marouane Chamakh.
You're taking the piss. You definitely didn't. You're taking the absolute... With that shit mohawk, you're taking a fucking piss. No, Chika, you're actually taking a piss, bro. I'm going to get rid
No. Well, we already have it. Chamakh is number 1. So you got Chamakh above Aguero, Diego Costa.
No, you knew what you were doing there. So I think Marouane Chamakh's the best. You're taking the absolute piss, mate. All right, when I do this again, I'm going to get you, you know. All right, that's the first and last time I'm fucking doing that.
You were saving for you now.
I'm fuming. You're such a prick, bro.
There you go. That was a good one.
That was quite a good fit,
Yeah.
Nah.
I got contact there, so it's fine.
All right, it's getting quite late in L Studio, in L House. One thing I quickly want to touch on is Champions League. We did your predictions last pod, but one thing I touched on in the 2 Left Feet Extra little pod I did with Mikey in an undisclosed location for a video that still hasn't come out. I was talking about how like Kvaratskhelia, I actually said it right. I thought it was a bit of a silly move to PSG. And seeing how bad they were doing at the start of the season, seeing how...
You thought it was a silly move?
Yeah, away from Napoli, and I don't know, I find Napoli a very romantic club, and I always think of me living on the Amalfi Coast. Not that Paris is bad either, but I just loved the history of the club and how they were seen as like peasants of Italy and Maradona. I just love the whole romanticism of Napoli, and they won Serie A, they were doing really well, still performing well. I mean, they're still doing well with McTominay. And with the French league losing sponsorship rights, TV rights, but losing Mbappe, losing Messi, I thought, this is a bit of a silly move. And seeing them in the Champions League to start with, I kind of thought, this is a really bad time to join PSG. But even Mr. Jonathan Morley on the old Tiki Toki, your favourite content creator.
Oh my god, he's been getting rinsed the past week and a half. I saw a little.
He leans into it.
Have you seen the clip?
We'll talk about which one.
It's like, oh man, it's hilarious. I'll just show it to you now quickly. I think I liked it.
What? Just tell me what it is. You can show me after.
It's like someone saying, like Liverpool gone from sign to sign, and they show these clips of like, this guy is Morley basically like, he's the best player, and then him be like, you fucking little bit. And then he's like, oh shit, Liverpool are gonna go great, we're gonna smack PSG, best team in the competition, I want them to win it. It's just like
well, that's it. He said PSG would win it. I think that's just a bit of sour grapes, but
no, but he said before that PSG are well off here, they're easy in the draw.
What's happened to your voice?
I probably just got really tired. I was really serious there. Yeah. Oh man, that's hilarious.
What you said they were rubbish before?
Yeah, that's what he said. He was like, they'll walk all over them.
Well, it's from what I saw in the press conference, he was saying they've become a bit like less nervous and they press high now, and their rebuild's going really well. They've gone completely away from the Galacticos kind of thing. The only real big signing has been Kvaratskhelia. Maybe the old Benfica centre midfielder, what's his name, João.
Neves.
Is it João Neves?
Yeah.
He's a little baller. He reminds me of Verratti.
And the young boys that are coming up are really good.
Barcola, I love.
Barcola.
Who's the fullback who's just got in the French team as well? Played really well against Liverpool. Was he a fullback or was he?
I think he's midfielder.
Begins with D.
Dewey.
Yeah,
Doué,
he's got a bit. He's got a bit. But just bringing these players through at a time where there's not much pressure, and I was talking about pressure. There's so much pressure on PSG because they've spent all this money, and now they've stripped that pressure away. And I think it's evidence to show that if Man United, when they went in the rebuild and they strip and gut the squad, how it can really help you thrive. So I was just wondering, based on my opinion of Kvaratskhelia being a step down from him from Napoli, do you think that still stands with how well they're playing now?
I think they've got better. I think the team that we played at the Emirates is a completely different team to what Liverpool now played in over those two legs. Dembele's in probably the form of his life since Dortmund days. You know what? Luis Enrique is a great manager, top manager, and he's probably had time with these players, and now they probably understand. They're probably more united. There's no rifts in there. They got rid of like Mbappe, Neymar, Messi. There's probably that relationship there was probably a bit toxic. So I think they're now awfully behind the manager, backing him, and they've got the right amount of like experience and like youth in that team. So I think it's a good period for them. I still don't think they'll go on to win Champions League. I don't think I'll put them as favourites, but they're dangerous.
Yeah, and do you know what they got now? Fearlessness. There's no pressure on them. Beforehand, it was like every game, even in that final against Bayern, it's like, we've got Neymar, we've got Mbappe. We've been building for this. We're supposed to win this. We've got to win this. It's got to happen. Now it's like, we can just go for it and whatever happens. There's not pressure. You feel a bit... It's like when you play football, even in the Sunday League. If you feel a bit more loose, you feel a bit more relaxed, you're going to play better. You're going to take that risk.
Yeah.
Whereas if you feel a bit more rigid and, I don't know, like stiff, you're gonna make a wrong decision. You're gonna overthink something. And as much as they are stars, Mbappe, Neymar, I'm sure they were feeling like that as well, because they're the big money signings. So now what makes PSG dangerous is ironic, because it's the complete other thing that it's the complete different mentality that they had in previous seasons. So it's very interesting. I think it's quite clever. And especially at a time, as I say, that they've lost their sponsorship rights, God knows how much in Liga. It's very clever. Now, talking about a big game in the Champions League, Arsenal-Madrid brought me back right to my childhood. I instantly thought of that yellow kit and Sergio Ramos chasing Thierry Henry. Is there any comment? I know in the show notes that you wanted to, just because we've got to wrap up really quick because it's getting quite late here. Is there anything you wanted to touch on in regards to this?
No, it's obviously a big game that's coming up, and like one that I'm pretty excited for. Like, I don't know entirely what's going to happen. You have hope, Saka is probably going to be fit by then with the game landing in April, but it's kind of like you just hear some of the names that we have to deal with. Mbappe.
Timber versus Vinicius is going to be interesting.
That's been a great battle.
Yeah,
and I'm excited to see that. It's going to be a great battle to see where we're actually at, and like.
How do they set up with Mbappe and Vinicius? Does Vinicius go on I can't remember. Does
Vinicius on the left,
and Mbappe through the middle?
Yeah.
And then who's on the right? I saw Rodrigo's getting a few games. I think Rodrigo's so underrated.
No, he's a baller, bro.
Yeah. Have you seen everyone's convinced he's Bengali?
Yeah.
Those jokes. Who's on the right? Am I bugging?
It's Rodrigo, but sometimes they could even put like a Valverde there, depending on who's playing.
Yeah. So Timber versus Vinicius. I don't think Timber. Look, don't get me wrong. Vinicius is going to get past him once or twice, but I think it'll be a better battle than people realize.
Oh no, it's a great battle. Yeah. Timber's very attentive, but I don't think he hasn't faced an animal like that in time.
I'd be really interested to see how Bellingham and Rice play against each other, since they played so well with each other at England. I wonder if like Rice will know a bit about Bellingham going into it, but again, Bellingham's just got that X factor. Fucking the popcorn.
No, that's hilarious. Honestly, like you can say that there's so many matchups there that they're probably familiar with, like Saliba marking Mbappe, like,
which I back him.
Saliba has hit and miss form this year. It's kind of been Gabriel taking the height of things, but I back Saliba on his day when he's got full concentration. But really and truly, Mbappe's going to get opportunities.
Yeah,
he's the best player in the world.
I mean, the thing that I hate about Real Madrid is Arsenal could play out of their skins, be 2-0 up, and Real Madrid can easily make it 2-2 at literally click of the fingers. You
go goal down in that first leg, it's wraps.
Yeah.
It's wraps.
Yeah. And you go 2-0 up.
We're going to get opportunities.
It may as well be 0-0.
Yeah.
How would you line up the front three? Because obviously Arteta likes playing Trossard as a 9, but personally, I would go Martinelli up top, Trossard, Martinelli up top, Trossard on the left, and Saka on the right. Because who's their fullbacks? They've got Mendy on one side and the left back.
I do think Trossard sometimes is better. It just depends how they set up. I think
it's an interesting one tactically.
If we're going to be playing on the counter, I think you got to probably play Trossard in the 9 to link up play.
Mm.
And have
but then
them.
Does he just get bullied by Rudiger?
No, I think he draws. Rudiger's quite like a up your ass centre back. Pause. Like he's quite. He'll draw him out. But I think Martinelli in behind. I think like you can exploit them with gaps beyond Rudiger and stuff like that. With Trossard coming to feet, engaging, and then Martinelli spinning. I think their right back position is something that's completely been decimated. I think with so many injuries. So it just depends on who they decide to play.
Yeah.
I think they've been playing Vasquez there quite a lot recently.
Yeah, this is the thing, like, again, you could get it so right tactically and then we'll just score out of nowhere. Yeah. That's the thing that makes me feel... Look, I haven't got the greatest hopes, but honestly, if we beat Real Madrid, I don't see why we can't go all the way.
Of course, and you beat the best team ever in that competition, and for me, they're the favourites for the whole thing, so it's like... That would be insane.
Have you got an early prediction for the first leg?
First leg...
Should we just do both legs because this might come out like...
First leg 1-1. Second leg 2-1 to Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think we've got to go in like that. Have that fearlessness PSG have.
Yeah.
Because they're just fucking good, aren't they?
Make it tough.
Make it tough. Make it tough. Cool. Now, just wrapping up, maddest moment of the week. Have you seen this referee who scored a goal?
Oh, that was in mine, you know.
What was that?
It was my maddest moment as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
all right, that's good because we need to wrap up.
Yeah.
Sorry if I keep on saying it, guys. It's currently 11 o'clock and it's a school night. This is mental. Joao, you'll see it. It's in the Dutch lower league if you want to Google it. So I'm going to press play now.
It's absolutely a joke.
So keeper absolutely makes a worldie. But what is he thinking at that point? Because if it hits a referee in the middle of the pitch,
supposed to be dead.
You're supposed to like pass it, like play stops. So why doesn't play stop that? I don't think if that was my team, I'd be annoyed, but I'd be like, it is what it is. Why is he giving that goal? He's panicked.
I don't know.
That was the definition of, oh fuck.
I think he's sticking to the rules too much because I think the ball isn't dead until the referee actually blows his whistle. So remember when Smith Rowe scored that goal at Old Trafford and he didn't blow the whistle, but he meant to. But because the ball went in before he could blow the whistle, the ball was dead when it went in rather than went on the whistle.
Okay.
That might be the rule, but still that's insane because you should have the decency or presence of mind to be like, okay, look, I scored the goal.
Yeah.
And like, I'm hoping that the other team would maybe score the goal from kickoff.
Yeah, it's mental.
Yeah.
It's bonkers.
Yeah.
Imagine you come away from a game like that.
That's the stuff that you see in fucking Hammersmith.
Well, I've seen it, and that was with the handball goal. Jesus Christ, hand of God. Yeah. No, why does football do this every... Like, it's such a good segment doing this, because every 2 weeks something crazy just does happen.
Honestly.
All right, my laptop has just told me it's running low, so we better wrap this up quickly. I don't think we've got a freak of the week. I'm just going to give it to Adam Ida because he bagged a 9-1-2-1. Sorry, I'm taking your freak of the week. And then Howler?
Cancel that. It's going to Master Skelly.
Oh, yeah, okay, of course. Sorry.
There we go.
Who's Howler? Do you know what? Howler. All the fucking racist fans online giving him shit about being too arrogant when he turned up to the training ground. Fuck off. Like...
Oh, is it? I didn't see that.
He's been getting abused because of a fucking picture of him turning up and he's smiling and he's wearing a nice outfit.
Oh, well, yeah. I saw that. I thought he looked cold.
Just... Honestly, this country has a racism problem that it tries to hide, but TikTok and Twitter bring it out. And that is the one good thing that comes from both the apps. The fucking sly racists that try and act like they're not, but they'll bring up something really small to, you know, oh, it's because of this. Come up with a fucking better excuse. He's like the loveliest lad. He's got a great home life. He's got a great mum. Yes, he done the Haaland meditation thing, but that's because Haaland wound him up the game before. He's making the game more interesting. He's confident. He's everything you want to fucking be, and he's black and he's doing it. So shut the fuck up, you racist cunts. I'm going to leave it on that. Sorry.
Well said.
Sorry if I went a bit sweary, but it's truth. It's just pissing me off. It just shouldn't even be talked about. He walked in the fucking training ground and wore a nice designer jacket. I don't even think it was design. Just fuck off. I'm going to end it on that.
Oh, God, that's brilliant.